of the day and final race of the season for the Alphas. Coming up next, we're going to have the ECU Club Enduro Championship, the 100-minute race. So we've got that coming up next in a few moments' time, which should be a great spectacle, with, of course, mandatory driver changes or mandatory pit stops and driver changes for most of the teams, of course, some of which have success penalties to serve after previous meetings, and the championship on the verge of being decided. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. And then, of course, we go back to earlier categories. We go cycle back through the previous races. So 5 Club MX5 Cup, Nankang Tyre Sports 1000, Zam Helmets Formula V, K-Tech Racing Clear Sport Championship, and the High-Tech Alpha Male Championship and Oulton's race as well, including, don't forget, 2nd of November. It's the Neo Howard Stages Rally here at Oulton Park, an annual event that has become always spectacular, and it's combined, of course, with the fireworks celebration that makes it such a popular event for spectators here at Oulton Park. So that's the stage rally, 2nd of November. That's something to look forward to here at Oulton Park in just about 6 weeks' time now. It's scary that Bonfire Night is so close, Johnny.
I've seen quite a bit about Halloween recently. I thought, that's a long way off, but
yes,
that's probably 5 weeks, I suppose, if fireworks weekend is 6. Yes, I know. Time is ebbing away.
It is.
But let's not wish today away, because we've still got some cracking racing to come. I'm looking forward to the rest of the afternoon.
Absolutely, with the Enduro coming up next, that should be well worth watching. 100-minute race, and not the biggest grid we've ever had for the Club Enduro, but it's quality that matters rather than quantity. And we've got a cracking field lining up for that one just in a few moments' time. From the assembly area behind us, they will, once the circuit is clear, go on to a rolling lap, because it's a rolling start for the Club Enduro, of course, rather than a standard start. Let's now head down to Park Furno, where Kieran Mogg has some Alfa Romeo drivers for us.
Well, the Alphas are certainly a spectacle. I know Johnny was going on about them up in commentary, but we've got 2 of our class winners down here, Jamie Thwaite and Dave Messenger. So we'll quickly jump in with Jamie. Jamie, if I could just get you over here for me. So 2nd place class winner, how was it out there?
Yeah, no, it was good. We tested yesterday, managed 5 laps all in all, between red flags and problems. But yeah, quite warm. Once the tyres came in, just put my head down, going.
And how have you found the circuit? Has it evolved since this morning?
I think I've evolved since this morning. I don't know whether it's a circuit or me, but I'm definitely quicker by, I think, 3 seconds. So.
And how's the car reacting to it as well? Does the car suit this kind of circuit?
I think it's a TCR touring car. It's built for Oulton Park. You know, this is where it's most at home.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the 2nd place, and obviously your class win as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we'll quickly speak to Dave Messenger. Now, Dave, if I could just get you over here a second, please. So you're having a bit of a battle out there.
Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? Yeah. Me and Stacey, yeah, it's good. She's done really well. So managed to keep her at bay, but it was difficult.
Yeah, no, it definitely looked it. Obviously, you guys were nipping and tuck here, there, and everywhere. Was it difficult to keep it behind?
Not bad for
I think second half of the race, tyres just turned to glue. I think I was fortunate enough. I probably got a little bit more power in my car than Stacey's, but yeah, she drove really well and really clean. Yeah, it was a good battle.
Absolutely. And how is your car on the circuit? Is this one of your favourite circuits?
Yeah, I like coming out. I like the circuit. It's great. I've not always had good fortune. Today's going better, so yeah, it's a long way to come, but we enjoy it. It's lovely scenery, nice crowd, so yeah.
Absolutely. Obviously, there was speak of rain. Were you hoping for the rain, or are you glad that it stayed dry?
I don't mind if it rains or if it's dry, but if it rains, I want it to rain. I don't like it when it's kind of in between and we don't know what tyres to get, so I don't mind either way.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your class win.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Now we're going to be heading over to the Club Enduro in a minute. So, got a bit of an endurance race going on. We've already spoken to the guys, so let's see how they get on. Club Enduro coming up next.
you.
Heading out onto the circuit, rolling lap ahead of the Tiguan Club Enduro Championship, round 5 of this season. There's just one more race to come after this. One hand already on the championship, Ashmore and Saffron's taking third place within their head today. Should be enough to get them to run the overall title because they've had a perfect season so far. 4 wins, 4 fastest laps, and 4 races today to the Motion Motorsport on the Pacific. They've already wrapped up the Class 6 Championship. Still, Classes A and B are being hard fought. Grid of more than 20 cars, 23 cars that we have today, is on its way around the green flag lap, and we can bring you the grid. We will do so. It's going to be a 100-minute race, pit stops between 30 and 85 minutes into the race, with several teams having pit stop penalties to serve. So Scott Parkin in car 1 has a 10-second penalty to serve. Car 6 has a 30-second penalty to serve, which is Ryan Parkin to the Brickton. Car 8 Parkin to Roger as well, so they've got 30 seconds. 66 Porsche beyond the Tom Wilson, 20 seconds, and then it's 30 seconds for 195 and 10 seconds for car 333. That all as a result of previous success in these races. So front row is going to be the number 6 car, which is started by Ryan Parkin rather than Dylan Richter, and number 1 is Scott Parkin besides him. The second row is the 444 car, which is started by Claire Norman, and number 22 being started by Luke Rouse. The third row, number 33, is being started by Kevin Clark, and besides him is the 117 car being started by Ian Jones. Row 4 of the grid is the 25 car and Darren Ball, 69 Matthew Hampton, 10 Rob Fennick and 55 Paul Simerson on the 5th row. Row 6 is 78, which is Alan Stockford, and 8 being the car of Chris Webster. Row 7 is going to be 83, which is being started by William Puttergill, and 119 being started by Bobby Trundley. Row 8, number 19, is being started by Wayne Lawson. 66 is Michael Downey. Row 9 is 195 being started by Samuel Dennis. 62 being started by Peter Dennis, Lee Dennis, I say. Row 10, Travel 3 car being started by Thomas Stedman. 481 is Ed Interesting, and 666 is Paul Subiani. 169 is Matthew Simlight, and the 171 car completes the grid, which is Senna Osman. Red lights are already on the gantry, but it's a rolling start ahead of a 100-minute race for the Tiguan Club Enduro Championship. We've got the 2 Darkside development Audi TTs on the front row of the grid, and it's the twins starting out. Ryan Parkin in car number 6 and Scott Parkin in car number 1. As the red lights go out and the race gets underway, then a bit of a split between there's one heading into the pit lane, which I think is Alan Stockford at the end of the rolling lap, but they've all made their way out into this 100-minute race, an hour and 40-minute race for these cars. with mandatory pit stops, as I say, and it's the two brothers, the twin brothers, side by side as they drop down through the left-hander at Cascades. But it's Kevin Clark in the BMW M3 that's right with them there in third position. I think it looks like that might be Ian Jones in the BMW Compact, a very powerful BMW Compact that's there in fourth. But Kevin Clark made it up to second place now. He's slotted between the two Parkins and has gone to P2 as they head into Shallows Corner for the first time.
An opportunistic manoeuvre from Kevin Clark, but it's only going to work for one corner, because back past will go the second of the Audis, which is the car that started from pole position, Ryan Parkin. So Scott Parkin leads from his brother Ryan, and then not really a gap back to Kevin Clark. It's they're almost touching one another as they come out of Britain's for this first time. The second of the BMWs worming its way through as well. Kevin Clark, after an absolute killer getaway, is just losing a bit of momentum now, far more distracted by the compact on his tail as they head up Clay Hill for the first time.
Indeed then. So it is number one that leads, which is Scott Parker. He leads the Class A Championship this weekend with 42 points to 29 of his brother Ryan, who has been shown as Dylan Richter for this season. Although it was Ryan and Dylan that won last time out at Silverstone last month. It's Ryan Parker in second place at the moment. Kevin Clark in third. I think it's his first appearance of the season. A very experienced driver in all kinds of cars. And fourth, it's Ian Jones in that BMW Compact, the number 117 car, the 3.2 litre Compact. Here's Luke Browse, number 22 in the Cupra, and he's going wheel to wheel with Darren Ball, and I think he's getting a place away from Ball, so that's for 6th position. It looks like Luke Browse in the Stoke Market Class car. Well, he had got through, but as they turn into Cascades, it's Darren Ball that gets back ahead now in this sort of day-glow yellow and black car. Darren Ball racing very different cars over a few years. Again through Ireland, Kevin Clark very quick at that part of the circuit, is right on the tail of what is not Dylan Richter, but it's Ryan Parker, we believe, for the first part of this race. And he is right with him, but also for Focus Company is that mighty BMW Compact. And just behind them, we've got the Trouble 4 car, which is Claire Norman in her Seat Cupra TCR that she shares with Alan Blake.
So Ian Jones has started brilliantly well and matching the pace of Kevin Clark's similar manufacturer car, but a slightly longer version, if you like, versus the compact that is in fourth position. Now, one Audi's been sent off into the distance, and the other one almost being given the job of the tortoise in this, perhaps. So the number one car of Scott Parkin is wasting no time whatsoever. However, Ryan Parkin just cannot shake the car of Kevin Clark, which was a relatively late addition to the field. He's sharing with Aldo Ritti in his E46 M3. And again, late on the brakes, just trying to perhaps force a mistake from the second of the Audis in this race, the Audi TT TDIs. BMW is going to try and run side by side with the Audi, and almost got his front wheels level, did Kevin Clark, with that of Ryan Parkin, but no way through at Old Hall. Might have a chance though this time round the outside of the avenue. Oh, there was a bit of side-to-side contact there, in fact, wheel arch to wheel arch, and that is what eventually gives Kevin Clark second position, but it wasn't without a touch. He got a much better run coming out of Old Hall Corner and moves into second.
Does. So exciting battling going on there. So what's happening in the classes? Class B, that's been led by Tim Marshall Webster. That car, the great car being started by Chris Webster, who Matthew Tim Marshall was saying was the quickest of the two drivers in that car this weekend. In Class C, well, it's being led of their own by Lee Deadly Sandler in number 62, the car that he's sharing with Andy Gay, the BMW 328i. So they're ahead of the car that's still winning this season, Class C. Sam Dennis and Ash Moore, but Dennis and Moore only need a third place finish to wrap up the overall crown, I think, whatever anyone else can do in this race. Just a couple of things to note about the pit stops as well. I've told you when you can take them, and some success penalties. We also need to say there's going to be 3 minutes long, mandatory 3-minute pit stop for all the teams, and one other fact that is highly relevant: you cannot take your pit stop behind the safety car. So sometimes drivers, teams will really sort of strategise and take advantage of safety car period. Well, that element has largely been eliminated with the prohibition of taking your mandatory pit stop when the safety car is out. So the advantage that might otherwise go through that, well, it's pretty much wiped out. There's the Class B leading car, Little Janetta, which Kieran was enjoying in the pit lane earlier on. Yeah, the number 8 car, the Flying Tangerine Racing machine, ex-Janetta Junior car from a couple of years ago, we're hearing. And it's going very well, leading its class ahead of the Trundle and Ballesteros Audi, which is in second place. We'll just about see Bobby Trundle's car in the background there.
Another battle to keep your eye out for is still Claire Norman versus Darren Ball in the Cupra competition, if you like, to be the best of the Seat/Cupra brand. One is listed in the programme as a TCR. They're probably both TCRs, though, are they? They're that matched. Yeah, for Darren Ball car. Yeah. So the treble 4 will at some point be handed over to Alan Blenko a little bit later on. There's a place change again there because the second of the Audis, Ryan Parkin, is back in front of Kevin Clark now. So Audi, BMW, back to where we were. There was an element of Kevin Clark giving that place back again for fear of incurring the wrath of the stewards, because as I said, there was a touch, although he got a much better run through the avenue and down into Cascades. It may have been done on pure pace, I suppose. Scott Parkin was away in the distance, still leads, but there's a massive margin of nearly 5.5 seconds now between these two leading Audis.
Yeah, that's right, as they send their way through Druids for the fourth tunnel. I didn't notice the cars for the back of the leading Class C was intense between leader Dennis Adler and Samuel Dennis. So possibly we'll be able to pick up on that as the race wears on. We're looking at the BMW battle now for third position between the E46 M3 of Kevin Clark and the Ian Jones 3.2 litre BMW Compact, the number 117 car. And there's that gap back to the fourth place battle. That's Claire Norman and Darren Ball, and then not too far behind the Rouse and Stowmarket Class Car. So you've got 3 similar Cupras all together there, very evenly matched. Then just behind them you've got the number 10 car, which is the Rob Fenwick BMW M2 CS that he is sharing with Andrew Shepherd. So that's the battle there. You can just see going through, that's the Trundley, it is the Trundle Stage Race, the TT just going through in 12th position overall. Already nearly 10 minutes into this race, and Scott Parkin is getting away quite nicely, 6.4 seconds ahead of the rest of them.
This could be a good opportunity for Darren Ball now to muscle his way ahead of Claire Norman. Very good sense of speed towards Britons, but there just wasn't the real estate again to draw alongside. So some good defensive driving, but it's not particularly fast, so it's not hauling Claire Norman away from these additional 2 Cupras in behind. So they go through almost as one, and then the next car in the sequence is the 8th placed number 10 BMW M2. And that typically is one I didn't write down as the starting driver. Car 10
is Rob Fenwick.
Rob Fenwick started it. I'll underline that then as we speak. Andrew Shepherd to come a little bit later on. Thank you for that. So Fenwick's almost joining the Cupra line. Oh, big look up from Claire Norman, and that will give the places away. And I just wonder whether that was just the mere presence of Darren Ball, lap after lap, really pressurising in that situation. And 5th place, a big change around, because Claire Norman is actually going to rejoin in behind Robert Fenwick's BMW M2.
Yeah, she's a very experienced racer actually, is Claire. She's been racing for more than 20 years. She started out with RSCC Road Saloons back in 2003. She's done VW Cup, she's done Masters Top Hat Racing, she's done CSX 260, she's been the British Women Racing Drivers Club champion back in 2022, and senior Gold Star recipient in 2023 as well. So she's very experienced. It's a Gen 1 Cupra TCR from 2018 2-litre turbo run by Alan Blenko. Racing Alan, of course, taking over the car for the second part of the race, the ex-British Touring Car Championship driver. There is the number 19 car going through. That is the Audi TT of Wayne Lawson at this stage. James Pickford's going to be in for the second part of it, but it looks like it's just lost a position to another orange car, and that is Michael Downey in the Porsche Boxster.
Yeah, another similar move actually to Kevin Clark's earlier overtake for second place as it was at the time. So different speeds exiting Old Hall Corner, and then that pinch point where the road just jinks very slightly to the right at the avenue, but you have to get it set up then to take the natural racing line into Cascades. Too wide at Cascades can actually spit you out on the other side because there is a crowd in the road almost at Cascades, and you've got to make sure that you're in the groove, which actually the Porsche in this case was not, but you're still able to take the position. So that is the Matthew Downey Boxster S, and behind the Audi TT of Wayne Lawson with James Pickford still to come.
Yeah, so that was the 14th and 15th, the battle that we see on screen now. Both of those cars in Class B. Positions within that class, a bit further back in the class, and then just do 36 3. There's the Class B, just flashing finish on the 11th place overall. That's Chris Bobby starting in the car. Then it's Bobby Trump in second, and third in that class is Will Cossigill in the Honda Civic Type R that we're showing just now. Those of the three have just gone through, and the next two class groups should be the two orange cars, the Michael Downey Porsche and the Audi of We're going back to the car that's in second place, which is Ryan Parkin at the moment, number 6. Sharing car with Dylan Prince will be car later on in the race. Here is the battle for Class C though. This is fantastic stuff. You've got Lee Dendy Sadler there, and then you've got Sam Dennis almost alongside the BMW now as they head into Old Hall Corner, and I think he might have done it. Let's have a look. Yes, he has. So Sam Dennis, number 195, takes the class lead in Class C in this Club Enduro race, a race at which that team, Sam Dennis and Ashmore, could be crowned champions. He's just got through having sat for the first 6 laps of the race behind the BMW of number 62, Lee Dendy Sadler, and right in behind him as well, you've also got the Paul Subiani, number 66, BMW 318 Ti. That's being shared with Tom Walker this weekend, not Johnny Hayes, who must be unable to take part this weekend. So Paul Subiani sharing with Tom Walker this weekend, but already now Sam Dennis has got through. He's pulled out quite a few lengths over those two BMWs, and that really just sort of tends to just what other drivers have said. It's a very hard circuit to overtake on, even if you do have a bit more pace than your rivals.
Yeah, you've got to take the moment as it arrives, because if you react a bit too late, then that's kind of it gone, and the next few corners you probably can't overtake at. So in a race of this length, I would say that actually you can afford a bit of time to just pursue your opponent, you know, the one that you're trying to overtake, work out where your car is fastest, where it doesn't perhaps have the strength compared to your rival, and once you've worked out the best place to attempt an overtake, then really go for it. On the flip side, you would have wasted a bit of time then to cars further up the road, but that's what an endurance race allows you to do, just think a little bit more rather than go at it hammer and tongs from the outset as you might do in some of the 15-minute races we've got elsewhere in the day. Already nearly 15 minutes into this one though. Time is ticking on. Pit lane effectively opens at 30 minutes unless the safety car is out by that point, and then you're going to wait until it withdraws.
The slightly helpful thing is it's not a completely full grid here today, so that obviously reduces the possibility of the intervention of the safety car. Naturally, there's less chance of those cars throwing themselves at the scene, so there's less chance of a safety car. So I'm going to touch wood and say this, we could get the race without one. We've already seen the safety car on a few occasions in the sprint races today, so we'll have to wait and see if that does intervene. Well, just going back to that Class C battle, we saw Sam Dennis get ahead. Of course, he does have a 30-second penalty to serve in the pit stop compared to other cars in that class. Paul Subiani with only a 20-second penalty to serve, and Lee Dendy Sadler doesn't have anything to serve in the car he shares with Andy Gay. So really, this stage of the race now for Sam Dennis and Ashton is about pulling out as much of a gap as they can all of their rivals within Class C, so that they can try to effectively negate that penalty.
More cars just disappearing over the precipice at Avenue and reappearing, thankfully, at Cascades. So BMW M2 gaining some ground there. Ron Fenwick has driven well to this point in his number 10 car and was able to capitalise on that very slight mistake from Claire Norman earlier on. Now the Dayglow Yellow Cupra was on the tail of a backmarker, I reckon, so that was Darren Ball trying to get through without limiting the time lost to Ian Jones. And the Mazda number 169 is the next car that stands in a lot of the front runners' way. That is the 169 car of Simonite. Matthew Simonite starting, James Mansell in the Class C car still to come later on. Oh, it was the Audi that I'd spotted, yes, which is about to be picked off as well by the all-green Browse car. Luke Browse driving for the first stint.
Yeah, so through Druids they come. 78 car, that is the Matthew Stockford Audi RS3 LMS, the Team Dynamics customer run car for Alan Stockford, the ex-Paralympic skier, sharing with the very experienced traditionally Honda racer, Alan James, but obviously racing his Audi with Matthew Stockford, as he had done all season. And they are actually third in the Class A Championship coming into this weekend. Best of the cars behind the two Darkside development machines of Scott Parker and Ryan Parkin, and 11 on points from Matthew Hamilton and Schultz coming into this weekend as far as the Championship is concerned. Class B, as we've mentioned, it's Matthew Timash and Chris Webster leading that. Bobby Trundy and Sandro Baistero are second, and then it's Chris Nyland, Lucas Fillen and Ryan Bensley in the third place car in that class. Ryan racing this weekend, but Chris and Will sharing the driving between them. There's Luke Browse going through. He's in 6th position. Glass-entered car. Some big beefy cars making their way out of Charles Corner there. The 18 minutes of this race having gone. Down to the right-hand corner has gone. Battle for 5th and 6th, Ball versus Browse. The gap between them started that was 2.3 seconds. I wonder if that's possibly come down a little bit now. Oh no, that's it. What's on there? Oh, that's the Lapri, isn't it? That the race leader's doing. Yeah, I got momentarily confused with the more beefy compact that's further up the order, the Ian Jones car. That's the 66 car, the car that's in Class C of Paul Sabiani. New fastest lap of the race has gone to Kevin Clark in third place now, a 148.251. Lap record for these cars around here is a 146.89 set by Will Stacey here a couple of years ago in the Lotus.
So was Kevin Clark able to pick up a toe here and there, either from back markers, or was he even close enough to be doing so on the Parkin Audi? I mean Ryan Parkin rather than the race leader Scott, because 148.2 on that particular lap was a second faster than the two cars ahead. So there is scope yet for that gap to the second placed Audi to condense yet further, but Ian Jones isn't a million miles away either in the more beefy BMW compact. So Audi second place ahead of Kevin Clark, getting larger in the mirrors now for Ryan Parkin. All of these Class A cars at the sharp end of the field. The fastest lap indicated on our scoring tower graphic as well. Clarkson checked out. That almost was like a mistake from Ian Jones to have delayed very slightly the second in the BMWs.
Clark does stand a good chance of a win here, because although he's third at the moment, he doesn't have any success penalties because he's not done any rounds in the championship so far this season. Scott Parkin's got a 10-second penalty. Ryan Parkin's got a 30-second penalty to reflect success they had in the previous round of the championship. So that will likely make a bit of a difference. Certainly as we enter the closing stages of this race.
What do we know about Aldo Ritti's potential pace when he takes the BMW over?
I don't think he will be as quick as Kevin Clark, which isn't surprising because Kevin's a really good flyer for this week.
And a BMW specialist as well.
BMW specialist, a car racer. But Aldo's too shoddy, but I don't think he quite have the pace that Kevin does. So, yeah, again, that's something to bear in mind. Obviously, Scott Parkin's doing the whole race solo, so his pace should be predictable and consistent throughout. Dylan Briggs with Mike Parkin, I think they're both enjoying their lap times as well. So, I think again they'll be fairly consistent the whole race long. There's the Class C leader and the sort of champion-elect being lapped, Samuel Dennis and Ash Moore, looking to get a perfect. Well, it'd be nice to finish the season unbeaten in Class C. They've taken every race with every fastest lap so far. Just looking to see if they've got the best fastest lap in Class C as well. Yes, they have so far. So they're looking good. I mean, still 78 minutes to go, but it's looking like Sam Dennis National will be making 5 minutes of fastest laps in a row. Things continue in the same vein as they've started here. But for the moment, watching this battle for second, Ryan Parkin, Kevin Clark.
When they do eventually pit, will they change tyres as well, or keep the same set of tyres they've got on?
Unusual. I mean, I guess the one unknown is actually hard for us to tell here is the weather.
Yes.
Do we get a change of weather at any point during this race? Because
really would to me.
Indeed, the forecast I saw indicated between 2 and 3 o'clock it might start to rain here, so that could change its strategy for some. Normally there'll be refuelling, but no change in tyres, and that's obviously there's a damage to a tyre or something like that. I think we did see in the last meeting at Silverstone some tyre changes going on, but that's really the exception one.
And I'm guessing that they're all going to be 5 studs to undo and do up again as well. So if you're going to do a full tyre change, that starts to compromise your 3-minute essential time to be spending in the pit lane.
Yeah, and of course you can't be doing that while you're refuelling as well. So
okay, yes.
Time to
so there's different things you can do in the pit stop, which will obviously glean benefits, but are they going to essentially delay you in the pit lane? You want something that's not going to take any longer than, well, it's not even 3 minutes stopped, is it? Because that's also traversing the pit lane from the white line to white line. And careful bit of timing will have been done, I'm sure, as to how long it takes for the car to leave your pit stall or your expected stopping position at the end of pit road, so you don't breach the 3 minutes. Very, very wide approach there for Ryan Parkin in his number 6 Audi, almost putting the front left tyre onto the grass. I don't think he quite did that. Over the white line, not really attractive, it's actually more of a grip potential problem, as he's now going to go to the high side of, and that's either a Porsche Cayman, it is a Porsche Cayman, I was confusing it with another Audi that's a similar colour. So that's the 76 Cayman of Michael Downey doing this race solo, and actually very little time lost there by Kevin Clark. He got through in more or less the same position.
Yep, certainly did, as they lap up Downey Porsche car, driving down from north of the border. He was inspired by his dad to go racing. Started back in 2018, so now in his 7th season, and aiming for the Clubman Cup Award this year, but he's not really in contention for that at the moment. He's only got 15 points so far this season, 28 points behind the lead. The Clubman Cup is for cars that are more than a decade old, or just out of gearboxes, etc. As the second and third cars going through, powering away. There's Downey in the orange Porsche Boxster, taking his way out of Shallow's corner. And a little battle going on. Is this full position? Yes, it is full position. And over the grass goes the Senna Osman car, the E30 BMW, the 171 car. Senna Osman showing that car with Jody House to drive from Bromley, therefore loses the position that he briefly gained back to Matthew Simonite in the Mark III Mazda MX-5. And they're shortly going to be lapped by Scott Parkin. as well as Ryan Parkin and Kevin Clark as well. They're Scott Parkin, getting past them there.
Yeah, so it's going to take maybe a few corners actually for that E30 to clean up its tyres now, and for Osmond to be happy to push. Not necessarily for the remainder of this lap, but certainly for the next one. Down towards the apex goes both Ryan Parkin and Kevin Clark in their Audi and BMWs respectively. Kevin Clark using a lot of power coming out of that corner, and the car just jumped sideways very slightly on its rear tyres towards the curb, but it was neatly controlled. Also ducking underneath the Mazda MX-5 of Matthew Simonite. That was an Old Hall corner. So Parkin, Clark, and then the Ian Jones BMW, but that is now 11 seconds adrift of the rear bumper of Clark. So fight definitely on for second and third. It could well continue on into the second stint, but remember that both of those cars will be changing their drivers for Dylan Richter and for Aldo Ritti.
Yes.
Thank you. So I got there in the end. I thought I've got to look down to my notes rather than the printing program. Aldo Ritti will take over the BMW. So that's all a bit up in the air as to how they will compare for the second stint, and indeed how long each of them gets.
Indeed. Only 3 minutes or so away now from the pit window opening. So we'll see if anyone does go for an early stop in particular to try and steal a march on rivals potentially. To see how the strategy does play out. It's just the one stop that they have in this race. So there's multiple stops that have to be taken. Maybe I guess with the weather potentially being shown, maybe we want to take a stop too early, just in case the weather does change, and then you can do something at the pit stop to potentially. That also things like fuel loads, how far into the race you can go. Today's race won't stretch the cars quite as far to the limit as some rounds, because it's a 1-minute race. We have a 2-hour race. We've had a variety of lengths of race this season. 75-minute race, 75-minute race in the Dutch Grand Prix circuit, and a 3-hour race we had earlier on this year as well. But this is just a 2-hour race, also a 1-minute race, and that should be relatively straightforward for the team, but there's a unknown of the weather forecast and the radar on the phone and see what might be in store for us in the hour.
I mean, at the start of the day there was just a general thunderstorm warning, because it's very difficult to forecast where a thunderstorm is going to go, so that has to, by the Met Office, just be an overhanging threat. But as for actual wet weather, all around the skies pretty promising. There's cloud, but there's no darkness approaching in a hurry. The other interesting thing for me is that Ryan Parkin and Kevin Clark have been hard at it, and I thought they'd be actually slowing one another up, but that gap to the race leader has been coming down progressively. It was 5.3 after 8 laps, 4.8, 3.1, it's now down to 2.7, so they're actually getting closer and closer to the leading Audi.
Now I've got the radar in front of me, and what it is showing me is that there is rain, some storms, quite heavy rain heading in this general direction, but it looks, as things stand, like it might just skirt past them to the north.
Almost as if there's a force field, there's an MSV force field keeping all the bad weather away.
Absolutely. And here comes Kevin Clark, has a look at the inside of Ryan Parkin there into logical and quickly decided the better of it. And has remained in position, but yes, force field keeping rain away. And I've got a car into the pit, but before the pit window is open, and that's the Lee Dendy Sadler BMW 328i, and that was literally just about 30 seconds before the pit window opened, which is very unfortunate. But that's presumably a problem with that car. Needed pushing into the pit lane, but the pit lane window is now, well, not yet, but in about 10 seconds it will be open for business, and drivers will have to take their mandatory 3-minute stops should they wish.
Kevin Clark right on the back of Ryan Parkin. He didn't have the best run through the first corner at Old Hall and was under massive pressure. Actually, his braking though into shell oils was a lot more beneficial compared to the BMW, so he's made another gap on the beamer behind. Through Britain's they go, threading the eye of the needle there, but the gap's about the same. That was a big chance for Kevin Clark. He still holds the fastest lap, that was done 6 laps ago, and the gap has opened back up again, more to the region of 4 seconds between the two parking-driven TTs.
It looks like Claire Norman is that's in. Yes, she is. So first driver making a scheduled stop there by the looks of it. There's a time penalty for car 69, which is the Matthew Hampson BMW. That's the M2 CS Racing car, and that option is for track limiting for music to get 5 second penalty added to its time. So the leader's coming towards the end of the lap, first time when the pit lane window is open. Is anyone going to take it? Well, Scott Parkin hasn't, Ryan Parkin hasn't, Kevin Clark hasn't. They all continue on for at least one more lap, with the pit window now having opened for the was it going to be 55 minutes, I think we said it was going to be open during the course of this 100-minute race, between 30 and 85 minutes into it. And there is the car. Now, here we are, we're talking about tyre changes, and it looks like a tyre change is required on that Claire Norman and Alan Blanco car. Just leaning in to study the tyres that are being taken on and taken off that car. What are you reading into this?
Well, I think it's like for like, basically. I don't think you can go early and predict rain arriving, so tread patterns look very, very similar, but it is a lengthy job. And having said that, I think it's just a newer tyre, a bit more grip, driving wheels on the Cooper as well, so those will be the ones that take the punishment, as opposed to, for instance, Kevin Clark's BMW being rear-wheel drive. But this is maybe early. It could be, of course, that they had 2 tyres that they knew that weren't going to do the distance, but they had a bit of meat on them, whereas these are the better ones now for the new driver as well. So treble 4 will be taken over by Alan Blanco. I remember him in Ford Fiestas.
Yes.
In the early 2000s.
That's right.
He raced people like Gordon Shedden and Colin Turkington in those days.
He did. It raced against that was on the days when I think the Fiestas were on the Power Tour package, and then F3 GT Sports, weren't they?
Yes.
At that point in time.
Yes.
I seem to remember.
There may have been a switch, but yeah, Power Tour did incorporate Fiestas at certain
one point, didn't it? Yeah.
Right.
But then, of course, they were sort of also associated with Tokyo. But yes, Alan Blanco was a Fiesta racer. Can probably tell you exactly when that was, because he's detailed it all down on his commentary information sheet.
Good man.
2000, he was 5th overall in the Fiesta Championship. He was the champion of the Winter Series that year, 4th overall in 2001, and then did BTCC in the production class Alfa Romeo in 2002. So it must have been 2000, 2001 that you think.
Yeah.
But he did that. Before that, he started racing with the 750 in 1999, Stock Catch Championship. He was 4th in a Peugeot 205 GTI.
So 750 came before his running Fiestas?
Yes.
It's gone full circle.
Yeah, that's right. Just a quick rundown on the order for those of you at the circuit. Back to the time screen. Number 1 it is that's leading, which is Scott Parkin, and 6 Ryan Parkin. Second place, 33 is third, which is Kevin Clark. Fourth is 117, Ian Jones. Fifth is 25, Darren Hall. And sixth is 22, Luke Grouse. Class B, the leader is number 8, Matthew Tim Martin, 9th place overall. 155, Paul Simerson, 119, Bob Trundle. Sorry, Simerson's in the Class A car, so it's a Class B car with Trundle. And the third Class B car, 12th overall, is Will Possigill. And Class C, that's being led by Sam Dennis in 195 from number 66 now, which is Paul Sibiani. And up to third place in that has gone Thomas Stedman in the Mazda MX-5 since the Denny Sadler Gay BMW came into the pit lane. And I've been saying that another car has arrived in the pits, and that's the Alan Stockford Audi, which is just for its mandatory stop. So 65 minutes of the race left to go. And Alan Blanco now back out of things.
Yeah, so lap times are not quite, 2 of them won't quite fit into the 3-minute window. So you're going to be 1.5 laps down once you've made your stock. Therefore, we're going to have to be looking as far down as 19th position for potentially a top 5 or 6 finisher. That will all equalise with time. Bit of a delay there as now Kevin Clark's come in. It was earlier than I expected, and is that Kevin yet to get out, in fact? Yes, he quite done all his belts, I think. Kevin can get out now. The car's about to go up on internal jacks with the airline readiness, but fuel first, as you've made the point, so fuel has to be done entirely separately from the potential tyre change. Oh, that's a fire extinguisher. So that's the readiness for moving on toward as the fuel was going in. Brakes look very, very hot because there are a couple of very hard stops around here. Yes, and it's leaking something.
Yes.
So that's not brakes, is it? So that's potential overheating of engine, in fact. Steam or smoke is issuing from the top part of the wheel arch rather than the brake disc. So it's coming from the engine bay, or at least the cooling system for that BMW. So that's the concern.
He's down there, he'll try and bring us the news if he can in a moment. There, though, now on his own in second place is Brian Park in number 6. Although, yes, he is over the line now. That's the 66 car of Paul Sabiani just behind him at the moment. So keep an eye on what's going on with Kevin Clark's car down the possibly that's why it was earlier than expected to stop, because Kevin sensed that there was something wrong with the car and the dials were telling him that things were going a little bit too hot. Let's have some news from the pit lane. Kieran's down there.
Yes, we're down here with the 33 car at the moment. There's coolant leaking from the front of the motor. The driver did not seem to be too worried about it. But they've just been rushing a load of fuel into it. It's kind of been strapped back into the car. The marshal will point out the coolant, but again, the driver wasn't too concerned about it. He's just starting the car again, ready to go out, almost waiting. Oh, the car's not starting. Hang on. Yeah, I don't think it's starting. The car's stuck. Pass back up to you guys. Oh, no, car's going. I don't know if you can still hear me, but pass back up to you guys. It's just about to go back out on track.
So it sounds like it's a 5.5. Just be a moment, I think, before the car pushing back now. Still 3 minutes. Must be up. Must have check the timing of that. Because we're watching the Class B leader number 8 come through, which is Matthew Tidmarsh. And he's still leading Class B quite comfortably now over the Intersport car for Kevin Clark now. Aldo Ritty is being pushed back out. He's going back out into the race. And now starting to accelerate away. Out though, just in front of the number 1 car of Ryan Scott Parkin, I beg your pardon.
I thought I knew all my symbols on the TSL screen, but the little disc there, does that indicate some sort of penalty?
Yeah, that's the
penalty.
Yes, they've got a 5 second for track limits.
Okay. To Matthew Hampson and the Andy Schultz BMW M2 CS racing car. So I was just momentarily concerned that car had not maybe come through a split recently, and they're trying to locate it, but it's actually an in-race penalty. So Kevin Clark's BMW pitting on lap 19, which was about 35 minutes into the race. So when you've got a 50-minute pit window, 5-minute pit window, literally use 5 minutes of it and then stop. So it doesn't leave much wriggle room should the weather take a turn or should something else happen a little later on. Know for sure from Kieran whether there was definitely a driver change, as it did Kevin Clark get back in, but the car was in there for such a long time. I think they have to have done a driver change, and Aldo Ritty takes over. Now you said that Aldo maybe doesn't offer quite the speed that Kevin can, but this is his chance to step up, isn't it? And unfortunately he's got to swallow the fact that he's now already a lap, well maybe 2 laps down, 2 laps down, because you lose a lap in the pits, and now the race leader's gone by again, but you can't let that affect you because the number 1 car hasn't pitted yet.
Okay, we're told there's no driver change in the They did. So Kevin Clark has, so presumably going to stay for the whole race now. I don't know if he was included on the entry list, but just say Kevin's name on the time screen. So maybe a late decision made even before the race started that Kevin would do the whole race on his own, which does change things a little bit because Kevin very much a known quantity for all of his years of BMW racing, in particular endurance racing, in things like Britcar as well, but also known for his exploits sort of 3 decades ago now in Eurocar. V6s and roads, the short circuits, the oval at Allen Park and places like that. Every mile. So there's the 117 car, that's just coming in now. Stop from the third position. So this is Ian Jones. Martin Gadsby is that should be getting in for the second half of that race, and I can see Martin, I think, in the background just getting his gloves together and ready to get into the car. Before they does so though, they will refuel it. Make sure everything is well from the car and there's an extinguisher before they get out into the race. Get there with the fuel to go in. Second thing. Positive on, but I think you can see how quickly the level goes down there. Actually, just put a jug of pump in, I reckon.
That dump churn kind of incorporates the air release as well, doesn't it? So the venting valve, as the fuel goes in, the air comes out, and that's what makes the whole process very quick indeed.
Indeed. Back out into the race goes the number 83 car as well. That's the Puttigill and Nyland. That's Chris Nyland now taken over the car that was, I think, second and third in last week on the inside bar. Into the race as well, having made its stop. The other car that's coming, I can see at the other end of the pit lane now, I think it's the 55 car. It's not showing us having come in, so it's the Schultz and Hampson car that's coming. There's a car coming that we didn't want to see coming in.
But I get the feeling Kevin Clark maybe thought that this would be the case somehow. He didn't seem overly concerned when around Kieran because he probably had his powder face on, but the poker face. But actually, when a car is overheating to that extent, it's driven straight into the garage on this occasion. Is there anything they could do? Because if the engine temperature is spiking, you risk doing an awful lot of damage to a very expensive BMW engine. So give it a bit more time, allow the air to get at it, but if the temperature's not coming down, I'm afraid that might be just time to park it now.
Yeah, we've got the 119 car now in, that's Bobby Trundling to Alev to Sandro Ballesteros. He is just local circuits from Rochdale, only 17 years of age. Started racing the Junior Saloon Car Championships as an 6 trophy racing. Racing cars for 3 years now. And he featured in the CBBC My Life on the Fast Track documentary following his journey from karts to cars. And the car came by Dad with support from Team Brit. And Sam has also raised every penny for racing in JSCC as well. There you can see that's not the pit lane. That's the back side of the pit lane behind the garages, and that's where we find Kevin Clark at the moment, Johnny.
Yeah, he's driven it very close to his trailer, in fact, so that if the car stops there, then it's, I suppose, easy to push it the remaining distance. The smoky, probably was smoke rather than steam on occasion, seems to have drifted there, but the engine's probably been turned off.
That's Ryan Parkins in the pit lane.
Ryan Parkins in from second place, yes.
And he's going to hand over to Dylan Richter for the second part of the race. And that's going to be split pretty evenly. This is gone 55 minutes of the race. Dylan Richter, who along with Ryan took the win in the last meeting at Silverstone as well in August. Those two drivers, just want to see those coming out shortly. So Scott Parkin's still out there, and about probably now half a lap ahead of Pond's second place on the road, which is Darren Lord, who's yet to make his stop. His Cupra, half a second behind Darren Lord, who's with watching Alan Blanco in the 444 car down in 18th position after what I think was a slightly longer than strictly necessary pit stop there. 18th position at the moment. Far behind him on track is the 55 car of Paul Simerson in that BMW 4 GT4 driver from Nuneaton.
Making some good progress after its stop now is the Gadsby-driven 117 BMW Compact. So Ian Jones gone out of that. Martin Gadsby takes over, and the Bristolian is already up to 10th position with a stop under his belt. So that's good now to the finish for just under 54 minutes still to go. Cooper's still lapping in a very similar speed as well. Remember, there were 3 of them, now the 2 that have not yet stopped. So Darren Ball ahead of Luke Browse, up as high as 3rd and 4th. That will become 2nd and 3rd. In fact, with the pit stopping Ryan Parkin, handing over to Dylan Brichter as we speak. So that Audi as well going a lap down, as you automatically do with your pit stop. The leader is now completely in isolation on lap 25. The only car on, sorry, lap 26. The only car on 26 currently.
Yeah, the 333 cars in the pit lane at the moment. So that's the late Evans 5 of Thomas Devlin coming over to Michael Cooper. Well, that's a 10-second success penalty from the previous meeting. About half of the drivers have made a stop so far. Kevin Carlton really twice to get out of the race, so quite a few drivers yet to make their pit stops. It's not going to be a very easy window all of a sudden. It's not really the case today. The drivers in terms of staggered their pit stops quite well throughout this window. There's still plenty of it open, still another 37 minutes of the pit lane window remaining. Watch this battle, it's for 2nd and 3rd as things stand up to with the cars that made their stops ahead of them. Darren Ball and Luke Browse here. What lap times they're doing? Well, Browse has done a better of 150.5, Ball's done a better of 151.2. Best lap of the race still is with, I think, yes, Scott Hart for 148.47. And they're in the smoky haze of a TDI out in TT. There goes Dylan Brichter back out into another 52 minutes of the race left to go. There's the Darkside Michael Downing as well, of course, in his Porsche.
Yeah, Darkside Development is obviously a big initiative, but I don't know how many personnel they bring to a Jaguar. Okay, well, could they service 2 cars at once, or is it a deliberate ploy to pit them a few minutes apart at least?
Yeah, I think they could do. I think they could do 2 minutes if they needed to.
Well, they actually have the luxury to not need to at this stage, again because of almost the orchestrated way that they've dictated this race from the off. Scott Parkin, it felt to me as if he was given the role of jetting off into the distance, whereas Ryan Parkin, he wasn't going slowly, but he wasn't going the same speed as Scott, and almost acting as a rear gunner, just going fast enough, I suppose, to hold Kevin Clark up here and there. And the other thing is, of course, Kevin Clark's actually sitting behind a car at close quarters, a very hot race car, for a significant chunk of time. So has that lack of fresh air to the BMW actually caused the overheating problem?
Yeah, it's a bit of help, isn't it? Airflow will have been disrupted. And Christie is the 3rd of those 3 cars that you can see. So there will be 481, Class B, 36 entry for the driver from London. Let's head down to the pit lane, shall we? And here it is down there with one of the parking drivers. Seems like we just have 1 or 2 technical issues with Kieran's mic there. We'll be back down with him just as soon as we can to hear from Ryan Parkin, as it must be, because Scott's out on on the circuits at present. We'll be back down with just as soon as we can be. So we pretty much are halfway through this race now, just under 50 minutes left to go. It is Scott Parkin number 1 that's leading from 25 down the ball, 22 Luke Browse. Actually that's just changed. Yes it has, Luke Browse has just got through, which doesn't say that, Johnny.
Yeah, the green car suddenly appearing ahead of the black and Dayglow yellow, so maybe that was done into Old Hall, or into Lodge Corner I should say, at the end of the previous lap, possibly through the Knickerbrook chicane, but it's very recent. They were separated by just 0.7 of a second as they headed across the line, and now an opportunity for Luke Browse to open up more of a gap. That car's not stopped yet, nor is Darren Ball, nor is Scott Parkin, who leads the motor race. The 10 car, started by Robert Fennick, needs to still pit as well, but that is a chunk further down the road from those squabbling Cupras. Well over to the right now is the rejoining number 6 car. Hopefully we can still hear from Ryan Parkin very shortly, but his teammate Dylan Brichter now at the wheel of car number 6 and straight into the traffic.
Yeah, no respite for him, and even though there's not so much traffic as there might sometimes be, we've still come across it fairly often, so there's quite a disparity in lap times from front to back. So the fastest cars in this race today, the rest of the race 1:48.427 for Scott Parkin, and then going towards the back, yeah, he's sort of 2 minutes plus for some of the cars within Class C. The MX-5s, for example, will be sort of north of 2 minutes in terms of their best lap times. Interestingly, for the Class C car, the Class C leader, Samuel Dennis, he's in 1:57.072, so only 9 seconds off the lap time for Class A lead overall to start the race. So that's why the Class C is such success in the Class this season. 3 classes, by the way, split on power to weight ratio rather than anything else. Different splits. 300 brake horsepower to Class A, 240 brake horsepower to Class B, and 180 brake horsepower to maximum for Class C. There's some variations for force reduction. That's right. It's the general theme. It's a weight ratio is measured and sort of certified for the season. Tested to make sure that the teams are applying power to weight split. They have to display the minimum weight of the car, which is calculated based on how much power it puts out as well. I check that they comply with that on the weighing scale, so it's an elite rally championship as well. There's the Darkside Performance car, number 1 now in. Scott Parkin into pit lane then from the race lead. You can see the cold air blowing in just to try and prevent these cars from overheating. The point of interest here is where he's going to come out relative to Dylan Brichter, who's just gone across the line now. Now, in theory, of course, Scott was ahead of Ryan Parkin on track before the pit window opened, and of course Ryan and Dylan have got a 30-second pit stop penalty serve, whereas Scott's only got 10 seconds serve. So really, if Scott doesn't come out in front of Dylan Brichter, then we know something's gone pretty badly wrong at the pit stop.
Yeah, true, but those things can happen, so it's a useful thing to measure between now and all the cars rejoining. We will have had to have done the pit stop within the next 30 minutes, 15 minutes from the end. 2 BMWs very evenly matched, so this is the 10 car that hasn't yet stopped. 68 looking for a way to unlap itself. 69, is that BMW?
Yes, 62.
62, I'll get there in a
So
minute.
69, you're quite right first time.
Hamilton and Schultz, who have stopped, and they are looking to unlap themselves, as now the Audi, which is the Scott Parkin car, number 1, will retain Scott as its driver and head back into the race, just out of, there it is in fact, we'll say out of your vision but in ours, and it's in yours now as well. So back to the racetrack goes Scott Parkin. Everything will have cooled off, of course, so important to ease your way back into the stint, and actually a relative calm both in front and behind where the car has rejoined.
Yeah, and well ahead of Dylan Brexit as well, who we could see was sort of much further back around the lap as that car was going out as well. In fact, it's just coming across the line now. So we'll see what the gap is between those two cars. Not easy with the way the TSL display works. So we'll get a feel on that as they come through next time as to exactly how big that gap is between them. So the three cars that at first, second and third, the three cars that have yet to stop them. That's 222 Luke Browse, number 10 Rob Fennick, and number 8 Matthew Grimes. That's B leader. Class C is still being led by Sam Dennis and Ashmore. They've now made their stop. They are still leading Class C for well on the way to grab the Club Enduro crown with around to spell. This sort of pseudo scrap going on, and Sandy Schultz is going to try and, if he can, to get ahead of the sort of second M2. So Fennick is on lap 30 and Schultz is on lap 28, about 31-29 as they cross the line. So there's 2 laps between them. Schultz should be a bit quicker to faster drive than Hansen. But these two cars, by definition, are very equalised, both number 2s. It seems difficult for Schultz to find a way past here in this 2.6 mile Park international circuit.
BMW is shadowing each other's every move, so they arrive together into the Shell Oils hairpin now. So leading remains, well, for the first time in fact, Luke Browse. It's still Luke Browse at the wheel of that green Seat after he made the move a little earlier on Darren Ball, and Darren has now pitted in the number 25 Cupra, not a Seat, Cupra. Fennick and Shepherd to become Shepherd, car number 10, the BMW, is also not yet a stopper, and benefiting from not paying a pit call is the Ginetta G40 that was receiving so much attention from Kieran Mogg earlier on. So that G40 heavily up-tuned into the overall top 3 now, but that will all equalise in due course. So the 10 BMW threatening to hold up a faster car here. The 69 of now Schultz, Andy Schultz, looking for a way by, but can't do it at the moment, and they're going by a much older BMW, the E30.
Yeah, nice to see the different generations of BMW getting on 30 years or so between them. Right, it looks like Fennick has come into the pits now, 41 minutes of the race left to go, so has come out of the race, out of second position, and that does free up then Andy Schultz in the number 69, shackled as he now is by only got the Browse car, the Tim Marsh car, the Wilson Pickford TT, the Ed Christie BMW, and the Marshmallow House G30 that we just saw. Those are the cars left to make their lap. They've got 25 minutes or so left to do. It's one of the cars on screen now. It's back in the 19 car, the Wayne Lawson TT, is showing James Pickford, the single-seater racer. Wayne, who is 52 years of age, from Sleaford, company director, in his first season of racing, having done track days for 20 years. He's driven Ferrari Challenge cars around some of the greatest racetracks in the UK and Europe. But he's a wheelchair user. His car has hand controls, and it's prepared by Blackthorn Racing. Freshly built car this one. It's in 2011.
Unbelievably, the floppy bollard, which is at Britain's chicane, had lasted almost an hour, but it got absolutely whacked by possibly a couple of cars at the same time and has now been completely flattened. But I can't believe it's remained standing until an hour into an hour and 40-minute race.
Class B leads into the pits, by the way, number 8, Matthew Tidmarsh, so he's now arrived at pit lane as well. Fairly unopposed, just a few cars left to make their stops.
Yeah. This is really taking the pressure off Luke Browse in the number 20 car. Paul to take over. That is a Seat, Leon TCR for the drivers from Suffolk. 25 just creeping through shot in there, which is still Darren Paul. He's solo driving today. Worcestershire driver with his Cupra TCR, but with company. So heading up Clay Hill, that's going to be an interesting run to the end of the lap. When these final stops are made, and you'll get a true complexion, true idea of which way this race is going. Well, you can kind of work that out, to be honest, anyway, because the 4th and the 5th placed Audis were separated by not very much at all for a whole host of laps in the early stages. I saw the gap coming down to as little as 2.7 seconds. It's now going to be the thick end of half a minute.
So there's the Schultz number 69 BMW skating through shots. And this very experienced driver, he's 56 years old. Been racing since 1989, he's raced since the late 1980s then in UK in 7th Formula 4, Formula 4 2000, Formula 4 C-Set, Formula Open Motors, British GT, GT6 champion, Club champion, he's been GT Club Class champion, Super Power Jones, and Super there's Andy Schultz. The car he races, the S55 Turbo Straight 6 engine, powered by his team, ASR Motorsport. The BMW Motorsport car that ran in Italy in 2022 and 2020. That's the 16 car that looks so responsive to this current league. It's in 8th. Chris Webster's about to go out into the race for the 37 minutes that are remaining. The team counting him down. Push the car back out into the race. Don't want to make any mistakes and pick up any unnecessary penalties. So Chris Webster in that Ginetta, ex-junior car from 2015, goes back out into the race. Saw in the press the other day that Ginetta giving a facelift to all of their cars that are racing in things like Ginetta Junior and also their main Ginetta GT Championship as well. Giving them a more up-to-date look.
That might be the only car where the order of the names on the timing screen is inaccurate, because I had Webster circled for car 8.
Oh, you're completely right, aren't you? Yes.
It's a rare thing. Note this down in your diary, folks. But yes, Matthew Tidmarsh, in fact, taking over from Chris Webster. But otherwise, TSL have done a cracking job, because they should have moved the names around to mean that the first one listed was the starting driver.
Shall we hear from Chris Webster now?
Why not?
Let's go down to Karen.
I'm down here with Chris Webster from the Jetta. Ian, I know you've been taking the, about me liking the Jetta. I don't care. Let's talk about it. You're currently leading your class. How's it been out there?
It's been good, actually, yeah. Event 3, I'd say, really. I was a bit worried about kind of starting next to Buttergill in the 83 Honda. But I think fortune played a little bit into our hands at the start, because it was a Class A car that peeled off into the pit lane behind the safety car, and it ruined Williams' momentum. So I managed to get to the first corner, clear of him, and then it's been plain sailing ever since.
Absolutely. And how you found the traffic management out there?
It's not too bad at all. I mean, it's a smaller grid than we're used to, isn't it? So a few Class A's to duel with, some B's and C's that I've either, I don't know whether I've come round onto them or they've done pit stops and they're suddenly, in my midst again. But it's been all right. Yeah, no events, no drama.
And how are you looking for the end of the race, do you think?
Don't ask me that. It's a Ginetta, it's a race car. There's two reasons why I'm nervous. Matt's an ace driver. Me and him are always within a couple of tenths of each other wherever we go. It's a really good pairing, so as long as the little car does its job, we'll be fine.
So we're not going to say anything about the anything then. Good luck for the end of the race.
Cheers, Mark.
Cheers, thank you. Back to you guys up in comms.
Webster down there leading Class B, handing over to his buddy Matthew Tidmarsh for the second part of the race. Meanwhile, more consequence of pit lane, such that the England is yet to do so is the Senna Osman 30 M3 to hand over to Jody Hamilton. Hope that will appear in pit lane before too much longer. There is the 69 car of Andy Schultz. Good to put the lap off the Mazda of Thomas Steppen. Now it's his teammate Michael Beach, isn't it? There's the Luke Paul Brown's car. Now that's actually but again doing some work on the tyres there.
Yeah, it's front, isn't it? Certainly front left that's been changed. It's interesting to me that the Audi's Scott Parkin's car with having the wheel nuts just torqued to the right amount, the right level, but I don't think they did a tyre change on either of those Audis. That was just a check because you've got the time to do it. Whereas this is definitely removing the front left. The tyre has been taken off in the foreground and the correct side of the white line. Again, an attempt to get the engine temperature down as much as possible with the coolers. Almost taken with the car as it's lowered back onto the deck, and that will return very shortly.
It will indeed. So soon we're going to run down the order as it stands after the pit stops, because it is now starting to make more sense. But we have a situation whereby basically Scott Parkin leading the race by 36 seconds over Dylan Brixton, and it looks like Darren Ball possibly is ground scoring of this in third position. We'll get an update on that, some information on that as soon as it certainly is a new tyre on the left front there. So we see the label on the tyres, a very fresh tyre indeed. And I think on the right as well.
Stickered tyres, as they say in the business. So it's brand new fronts for both. I wonder whether that will be, well, I wouldn't say noticeable difference, but of course Paul Browse has not driven the car yet in the race, but he will definitely feel the benefit of lots of grip just as soon as the tyre actually gets up to temperature. Also, sometimes there's a release agent that I have to get rid of as well, so it could be a bit greasy, a bit sideways for the first few corners, and then the grip will properly kick in.
Just over half an hour to go. So it's looking like Scott Parkin is now leading on the timing speed as well, because he's just used the line again, and he's going to be half a minute or so clear of Dylan Richter in the second. And then it should be third, I think, Darren Paul. Class B, that's Untitled Chapter, Webster leading from Skoda Island, by Esteros. Class C, that's with Dennis Moore. So they're looking good. Round spare from Thomas. There's the four-way car, one of the later cars. That's the Solo. Quite a few BMWs on the grid in this race. So watching the number one car, then the race leader just putting a lap there on number 10, which is now Andrew Shepherd, who's taken over. He's in 6th position, so I think we will now be 2 laps down that car. 6th place. Just looking at the time screen, what's happening back through. 38 seconds from first to second, 30 seconds from second to third.
Still waiting for Senna Osman to head into the pits. So that's the only car now not to have stopped. There'll need to be a driver change there as well to Jody House. So okay for time. 15 minutes in order to do that legally. But it will drop the 171 car further down the rankings in Class B. The car that they're essentially trying to catch is the number 8 Ginetta that we've just spoken at length, of course, to Chris Webster. He's handed over to Matthew Tidmarsh and comfortably leading Class B. Well, it's 22, nearly 23 seconds. The Ginetta separated back to now the Christopher Nyland on the Civic Type R. interesting comments from Chris Webster to say actually traffic not too bad. This is a lengthy circuit and a slightly smaller grid than we're perhaps used to in the Tiguan Club Enduro has made that a tad easier. Although traffic has the habit of clumping together, and you don't want to be suddenly turning the corner to see 3 or 4 cars right on the bit of asphalt that you want. So it depends as well where you're finding the traffic and how much of a delay it can cause.
Just having a look at this rainfall radar. I think we're safe from rain during the course of this race, but if it's possible we might get some after the during races finished. Usually it's pretty safe for 29 minutes or so of this race. It's really for the drivers. I'm sure you spectators here want some park as well. It's often it's quite out there. So there's the one car that's looking to make it stop. The 171 car of Senna Osman and Jody House. Surely will come in fairly soon to give Jody a reasonable stint of racing for the second half. Just looking to see which car is the fastest car out there at the moment. Well, it's looking like it's probably Dylan Pritchard who actually was the fastest on the last lap, 153.82. But that's Alan Blanco car, fairly quick, also into the 150s as well on the last lap. And yes, indeed, the 171 car does head into pit lane. So that's everyone now having, will have made their stops in about 3 minutes' time.
We mentioned the 5-second time penalty for the Fenwick Shepherd BMW M2. That's only just flashing up now. I think being indicated as well. We'll give that a couple of laps to make sure that Andy Shepherd, who now drives the number 10 BMW, has been given that additional penalty. So the car is currently 7th, not taking the 5-second time penalty into account just yet. Oh, is it at the end rather than in race? There was a time with TSL where it's toying with time penalties whilst we were going on, but that caused problems in itself as well.
Especially if you're sort of trying to bring safety car, I think like this car. You might not want that. So I think as soon as the race finishes, they are incorporated.
That's across the piece. That's the better way of doing it.
There's that car. Scott Park in lead, he's completed 37 laps, he's 37 seconds ahead. Number 6, Ryan Parkinson and Brayton, just completed the 8th. Second, number 6, Parkin Brayton. Third, number 25, Ball. Fourth, number 22, Luke Browse and his father Paul, who's now at the wheel. Fifth on a lap down is number 69, Alan Schultz and Matthew Hampson. Sixth on a lap down, number 7, Martin Gadsby Jones. Seventh and a lap down is number 10, Andy Shepherd, Fenwick. 8th and a lap down, 444, Claire Norman. Then we get to the Class B winner, number 8. Chris Robinson, Easton Marsh now driving that car. That's in Class B, Janetta, from Chris Buskill and Chris Niles, 21 seconds or so between them. Number 3rd in Class B, Robinson and Sam Steros. Class C, 16th overall is Sam Dennis, but now Ashton's taken over that car. And he is well ahead of the second place man. That's the X5 instead of top of the also be able to move third within that class. And then I watched the Painless Push, and I'll get confirmation of where all this is going to lead the championship if things stays there.
3 cars on the lead lap at this point. I wonder whether there's any advance on that. Yeah, the green Cupra has not yet been lapped by Scott Parkin's Audi. So that car, the Browse car, is also just about on the lead lap. Gives you an idea of the difference between the two TTs from Darkside developments. There's a gap of nearly 40 seconds now, so Scott Parkin is heading through the run between Druids and Lodge Corner. His twin brother Ryan well, earlier on in the car. Now Dylan Brichter is still way back at Knickerbrook, and it will be four cars in total on the lead lap. But I reckon the Hampson and Schultz car, also to be given a penalty at the end of the race, is just now off the lead lap, having been overtaken by car number 1. Scott Parkin needs to do to get ahead of the number 22 green Cupra. So that will take another car off the lead lap. A big ask to lap the field as Dylan Brichter is charging on, although about half a second slower last time through than Scott Parkin. So Dylan's not quite as quick as Ryan Parkin, I think it's fair to say. Meanwhile, Darren Ball, his number 25 Cupra, who is arriving into Lodge Corner now with this striking colour scheme. Day-glow yellow and grey wrap. That car will head across the line in third position. The difference is a minute and 14 seconds up to the race leader Scott Parkin.
Let's head down to the pit lane and hear from him.
Yes, well, we've got an audio report on the 117 BMW, the 3 Series Compact, unfortunately has just come in with brake failure. Driver reported that the brake pedal had gone straight to the floor and obviously, unfortunately, unsafe to continue. So they are in the garage now. The brakes are absolutely smoking and the driver is just getting out of the car. Shame way to end the race, really, but safest thing to do. So back to you guys in commentary.
Car of Jones and Gadsby. Martin Gadsby was at the wheel of that in the second part of the race. Now, I've been playing with my spreadsheet, as I threatened to do, and I reckon, well, we kind of knew that this was going to wrap things up for Sam Cashmore and Sam Dennis. If they win this race for the fastest lap, that's what they look like they're going to do. They're going to get an unimprovable 80 points from the first 5 races. But also, if things stay this way, it's just enough stay this way for Scott Parkin to win the Class A Championship with 58 points. If Dylan Brichter can get the fastest lap away from him, though, in the remaining what have we got, 20 odd minutes of the race, then that could change things a little bit. But it looks like it's enough for Scott Parkin to wrap up Class A. Class B, as things stand, that looks like it's going to go down to the wire. Now, hold on, get that spreadsheet.
There's almost smoke coming out of that spreadsheet. Like Kevin Clark's BMW from earlier on.
Absolutely, it's cool everywhere. I think if things stay as they are, then the Class B Championship will at least go down to the final round. Although, having said that, the car I was thinking that might take the fight to Martin is the car that we saw on the inset in the pit lane there for the scheduled stop. The Chris Nyland and Will Pussykill, number 83 car, is in the pit lane
for the second time.
So, and if that is the case, then all bets are off in terms of the championship. It might be that Martin wants to wrap things up today in Class B.
I wonder how aware of that situation they are from a team perspective. Maybe you don't want to give your drivers too much information. The one driving not to the car will be well aware, I'm sure. You don't wish ill on a competitor at any point, but this late in the season, it's just a sign that maybe the stars are starting to align in your favour when you see an opponent jacked up on the left-hand side. The attention is front left corner. I'd say the wheel is off. Maybe they're concerned about the brakes have been wearing or something overheating. So that's not going to rejoin in a hurry. Meanwhile, we have 5.5 minutes of the pit window still open, but everybody has now made at least one pit stop, so they should have all been fine. We did have that one early stopper, didn't we? And that was a car with a problem, so
yes.
They were never going to call that as their mandatory stop.
No, but I have had a notification that they've kind of accepted that if they're in the pit lane for 22 minutes, they're probably going to so that's the
good memory.
Yeah. So less than 20 minutes to go now in this TDI Championship. It looks like it's one then. But with that 9 and Pottergill car in the pit lane could well sort out all of the passes.
Yes.
I think it's sorted out already. Class A, Class B still to be determined this weekend. It looks like Scott Parkin and Ted Marshall Murphy respectively could wrap things up if things stay this way. Just 1 meeting to go still after this at Donington Park. That's in the Grand Prix circuit at Donington. Good little battle this going on. This is for position, is it not? And it's a change.
It is, and a change, but the key thing about the Hampton and Schultz BMW is that they've got to now build a lead of 5 seconds because they're carrying this penalty that will only be assessed at the end. I mean, the warning is there, it's effectively been divvied out, but it will only be felt on the timing screen once the checkered flag is waved. So yes, now the job of Andy Schultz to try and build a gap and make sure that the car does finish 4th rather than 5th, which that timing margin would mean it slips behind the Cupra.
Yeah.
Still frantic work going on the number 83 car. They're desperate to get this car back into the race for the reasons you've explained.
Yes, so up to 4th place then has gone Andy Schultz for the moment, did that at Oulton corner. The orange cars seem to attract orange cars in this race, because we've now got the 19 James Pickford from the 600 Honda racer, out in the number 19, who's got electricity in four and indeed the box just behind as well. It's fantastic. But for any fans of orange racing cars, they're here today. You've been spoiled. Absolutely. I'm watching the Marshalls with some shit. That's why they're going so well.
Yes. And there must be something magnetic about that shade. Because, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's panned out like that. We had a couple of orange cars together, but now I think all of them collected down at Knickerbrook and climbing the hill of Hilltop of Clay. What's it called? Clay Hill. There we go. As the 83 Honda is back on the move.
It is, which is good. Good news. Just Oulton Park.
Thank you.
That's right. The 171 car was also in the pits. That was a battle failure for the Osmond Hats car. Struggling to get that reset to think that day. So 17 minutes or so left to go in this race now. Everyone's got their stops, and just looking to see if there is a makings of a battle anywhere, but the closest one I can see looks to be for second in Class C, I think, between the Michael Hooper MX-5 and the Tom Walker BMW. About half a second between them. Let's head down to pit lane once again.
Look back at the shots there as Johnny was filming in the pit lane. The 171 Climax BMW M3 unfortunately was stuck right here in the middle of the pit lane. Basically what's happened is they've done the driver's swap, they've gone out and the car died. They brought the battery booster down to try and jump it, got it started again, disconnected it, and the car died once again. Unfortunately, they just wheeled it out of the pit lane now, and unfortunately it's out of the race. Sad way to end the race again, but back to you guys, up in commentary.
Particularly, Kieran, as they've got this far, it's an hour and 40 minutes, and within, not quite sight of the checkered flag, but inside the final 20 minutes. Later, much missed Hugh Chamberlain often used to say about runs at Le Mans. If you were going to retire, much better to retire in the first 2 hours than the final 2 hours, to have stayed up all night and fully committed to it. Learn your fate as early as possible, and then you can go down the pub. That's his general way of thinking.
Reasonable way of thinking as well, isn't it? Just looking at the potential implications of, there's a spit. Oh, hang on, this could affect my spreadsheet again. That's the 119 car, the Audi TT of Sandro Ballesteros, which has spun. It's got wipers going, the steam, I think that is, emitting from under the bonnet of the Audi TT. That's spun off at Knickerbrook by the looks of it, and it doesn't look like it wants to get going again.
As it stalls, I imagine it has gone into some sort of limp mode, which trying to now get that out of the systems check. It's an electrical more than anything else.
Before I saw that car stranded on the grass, I was about to say, implications of that late stop for Nolan and Pascal are that they wouldn't be able to overhaul Tidmarsh and Webster, but Trundier Ballesteros would have been able to overhaul Trundier Ballesteros. So, well, they could have got level with them in the final round, but I think the way it's going, Johnny, the championship could be decided in favour of Tidmarsh and Webster today if they get to the end. It looks like reliability possibly or spin has afflicted their rivals. Just making obviously the final classification impact that has on the points in about 14 minutes time.
Yeah, so a significant moment, particularly now as Sandro Ballesteros is not moving again, can't get the car to cooperate. Stranded on the grass, did look like it had stalled. That could have well been as a result of a spin. Meanwhile, the race leader, Scott Parkin, not encountering those sort of problems. In a similar car, mind you, TDI heads over the start and finish line right in front of our commentary position. Lots of tyre pickup on the outside of Oulton corner now, so you don't want to go too wide into that because grip will be at a real premium. But Scott's not needing to worry because there's a real racing line that's developed over the last hour and a bit.
Yeah, and we've got marshals now on the scene by the Ballesteros Audi TT as well. Trying to intervene somehow to get that car to safety, and we get the safety car with 13 minutes of the race to go. Let's just sort of pit those windows closed because that's no longer a factor. It looks like all they're going to do is push it up against the barrier there, so this could be quite a short safety car period, but it might be enough to spark a little bit more interest in some battles if it closes some gaps before the end. We'll see how that works. It doesn't look like they're going to get the intervention of a recovery vehicle there. There's the 171 car which was reporting about a few moments ago, and there is the safety car that just heading on to the circuit. The car of Schultz.
Yeah, so it may take a couple of cars to be waved by.
Oh, that's the end.
Okay. So that in a moment we shall permission to stop at safe-ish part of the circuit, heading straight between Cascades and Island End. And lakeside, the recovery work continues in the foreground.
That's just showing off.
Yeah, it's a challenge to go through those plastic blocks going forwards, but now reverse. So almost auto test style.
So they are going to try and move the
genetically wave through. The other question, of course, is whether this interrupts with some of the other class battles at all and gives certain cars, maybe class leaders, a massive lead that they wouldn't have already had. It's very dependent on Scott Parkin's location in relation to Class B and Class C front runners. Yeah.
So it's going to take a few moments to think, but it's then going to be how much racing is there left, if any, when all of this is sorted out. I'm surprised they are going to try and move it off. Way, given there's only 10 minutes to go, I think that's going to get off. Swift at some point, if not now, then after the race is finished. So, just try and get that done as soon as they can. So, yeah, safety car, forwards, flags, lighting panels, all around the circuit.
There's the race leader,
with
the half red, half yellow door mirrors on the Darkside Developments Audi, car number 1. And then in behind, that Mazda will not be on the lead lap. So how close is this going to draw the Dylan Richter car now? He's going to have lots of cars between the two Audis, so it won't have clear line of sight. But this definitely equalises the field. and mainly in the favour, well, totally in the favour of the chasing cars. The one that is really going to lose out in this scenario is Scott Parkin. Thankfully, his car has proven to be very fast so far. The Paul Browse driven Cupra is also far away from the race leader, but not on the same lap. Lap back, the bright green Cupra. And there's the Audi, second of the Darkside cars. So car 6, maybe about 10 cars separating them ish.
Just looking at the point situation again in Class B, I think if it finishes as it looks like it's going to within Class B, then Technological Webster will have wrapped up the Class B championship as well. So Scott Parkin will have wrapped up Class A, Technological Webster will have wrapped up Class B, and Moore and Dennis will have wrapped up the overall championship. Quite in their respective class winners in this race as well, which is helpful for when Kevin goes to interview them at the end of the race as well. So there we are, there's the Biostales car being taken out of bounds. So that's clear for the circuit. So I should think there'll be one more lap behind the safety car. So that's probably going to give us about 5.5 minutes or something of racing left. So maybe another 3-4 laps possibly at the end of the race. There are some gaps it's closed up. So if you look for 5th, 6th, 7th, that's Luke, well, Paul Browse now, Alan Blanco. Sorry, we're looking at that the wrong way. Yeah, Schultz, Paul Browse, Blanco, and Shepherd. They're going to be something by only a few seconds, really. They're going to be basically starters there through a bit further back for 14th, 15th, 16th. You've got Cooper, Walker, and Nine. It wasn't for Nine because he was trying to make good places to just pick points. He needs to get on terms of trying to put down I think 4th place for particular Nine. I think that's as good as it's going to get out of that pit stop they had to make. That's the car that's just now on the stream. The car was in the pits for a little while for an extra stop, and has cost them the chance of taking the title fight at Darlington Park for the final round on the 12th of October. Staying with another MSV track to complete the season. 4 of the 6 rounds have been MSV circuits to this next turn. The season. Marshall, that's got a yellow flag in one hand, it's got a green flag in the other hand. It's just given the word that at the end of this lap the safety car will go in.
When you heard his name almost being called there. We don't know every Marshall by name, but we're learning slowly. Yeah, so that's definitely an indication. Maybe we get, in fact, the lights are out. Great spot, Ian. So the lights extinguished at Water Tower pretty much just before the Druids double right-hander. And yeah, all eyes on that fight for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Made more spicy because there are 5-second penalties integrated into that as well. So a 69 car now driven by Andy Schultz. Can't afford to waste too much time in the third of the white BMWs, wanting to try and gap that green Cupra as much as possible in the 6 minutes that remain.
So here they come over the line with just under 6 minutes to go, and a good restart there from Scott Parkin. Of course, he had got Class A MX-5 behind him, not one of his Class A rivals. So all of the cars sort of shuffled out of the order of their lap pace, really. So it's going to take a moment or two for things to settle down as they emerge from this queue behind the safety car. But I think we'll find that Scott Parkin is just quite a lot of daylight between himself and the rest. But it looks like Schultz now has cleared the MX-5, and as you say, he's got a 5-second penalty. So too does Andy Shepherd further back as well. So it's revealed on the timing screen at the end of the race to exactly finishing over his front places.
Shepherd in the number 10 M2 BMW. So in this match, yeah, there he was on the outside line, leaving Shell Oils. So two Cupras together. They were together in the opening stanza as well, just before there was a very slight error for Claire Norman heading into Lodge Corner, which rather changed the order. Over Hilltop and into Nickenbrook go the race leaders. It's only 7.2 seconds time at the line between the Parkin and Brichter Audis. But the problem is Brichter's got all this traffic to try and deposit. Scott Parker's got an open road, so I would very much expect the number 1's lap time at the end of this, the first racing lap from the safety car, to be a lot faster than Audi number 6.
Yeah, it certainly should be. It is difficult to get past even sort of slower cars, like it's about to pass out the Class B Audi. That's really easy to get through here at Oulton Park. Turn their way. Through, across the line, has already gone Scott Parkin. He actually did the best lap of the race on that first flying lap of 1:48.225. So making sure that fastest lap bonus point as well, it would seem. There's a battle for position. That's Rouse and Blenko. Paul Rouse and Alan Blenko. That's 5th and 6th. The green Cupra and the white and blue Cupra behind it. And the car behind that is the then we just saw a shot of Brian Parkin for basically like 7 seconds on that lap, first lap, flag, because he was stuck in traffic, and Scott Parkin, Austin Dylan Brichter, I should say, on Brian Parkin, in second place. There it is.
Yeah, Scott Parkin doing the fastest lap of the race, and Dylan Brichter wanting to, but getting rather frustrated, I'm sure, in amongst a lot of the traffic. But it's very easy to throw a great position in this race, standalone, race, away. It was first and a second place finish for Darkside Developments. It's something that we've been aiming for as we got this 1 hour and 40-minute race underway. Still the chance for the Cupras to switch positions. Blenko applying the pressure to Paul Brow's car. Meanwhile, the gap at the start of this lap to Andy Schultz in the 69 BMW is halfway there. 2.7 seconds he's at start of lap 50, 49 for the Schultz BMW. In fact, still 3 cars remain on the lead lap. And Scott Parkin still on the ragged edge, braking, turning, squealer tyres. Now to the outside goes Alan Blenko to try and pick off Paul Browse, and he's done it. Excellent move, late on the brakes to the outside of Lodge Corner. And is he going to stay ahead? Yeah, he's comfortably ahead, heading over the start and finish line. So the Norman and Blenko blue and white Cupra treble 4 now into 5th spot, could even be 4th once you incorporate the penalties.
And there is our Class B leader just going through shot. That's the number 8 Matthew Titmarsh Gillette. The car behind it is the car in third place with a lap behind, and that's the Michael Downey Porsche Boxster. There is the number 19 car. That is the car that is in between them at second place. That's James Pickford at the wheel of the orange Audi TT. Just ahead of that on the road, the car that's in 4th place within that. That's the Chris Nyland time car that is, as I say, 4th place, and therefore not quite going to do enough to take the title fight to Donington Park.
Minute 10 seconds left on the clock. Second place Audi, 17 seconds adrift now. That is Dylan Brichter, monitoring the gap back to Darren Ball to a certain extent, but it's the thick end of 10 seconds, so he doesn't need to be hugely concerned about that. Car immediately behind is the now Christopher Nyland driven Honda Civic Type R, who spent all of that time in the pit lane. They were addressing something related to the front left corner. A further penalty. It's an extra 10 seconds now to be added to the Fenwick and Shepherd BMW car number 10. So it was already carrying a 5-second penalty, probably for track limits, and a further track limit infringement. They're incremental steps, so the next one is a 10-second penalty, so 15 in total.
Yeah, so that's not going to help their cause. It will probably cost them a position, at least one position in this race. There's a scrap going on here. This is James Pickford in the orange Audi TT, taking part the R8 LMS car, just ahead of it. It's James driving down the lane. But now onto the last lap has gone Scott Parkin, 19 seconds to the good in this race now. And it's looking like this is going to be his third win of the season. Already had wins at Touch on the Grand Prix circuit and Snetterton as well. In fact, he's had all of his wins at MS3 circuit, so he's clearly a great fan of the Jonathan Palmer owned facilities to a certain extent. But anyway, heading down towards the right-hander at his laps for the 52nd and final time in this race. Through Nick and Brooke, it's about a third of a lap to go now. Climbing up the hill, Clay Hill, under the pedestrian bridge. Then past that tower, left here, and then into the right-hander, Andreas double apex right-hander, and a bit here we come, onto the what is essentially a straight. He's got his hand out in the cockpit. He's got a very hot hand, so he's celebrating already. And
saying thank you to all the marshals.
He is, well, we do that on the slowing down lap, but he's so far ahead he can do it on the last lap of the race. He's going to take the checkered flag now, and he wins for the third time this season, the Scott Parkin in the TD1 Club Enduro Championship. He also wraps up the Class A Championship for Club Enduro for 2024. Next couple of cars over the line, it's going to be Schultz and then I think Blenko, but Schultz with that penalty knocked a place back to 5th place.
Yeah. The other penalty I've not mentioned yet because it doesn't really affect his position is Darren Ball. He got a late 5-second penalty in car 25 as well as the Cupra, but there was enough real estate both in front and behind for him to stay on the podium, third position for number 25.
That's right, and the car's still coming through, waiting for our Class B winner to come through. Here he is. Class B is won by Matthew Titmarsh, Chris Webster, who took the first part of that race. They wrap up the Class B championship, so we're now just waiting for our Class C winners to come through, and they're going to wrap up the Class C championship. And here they come. It's Ashmore with Sam Dennis. 5 out of 5 wins, 5 out of 5 fastest laps. They cannot improve on that score, whatever happens at Donington Park. They are the 2024 TD1 Club Enduro champions in that Motion Motorsport prepared Honda Civic Type R. Congratulations to Ashmore and Sam Dennis. Ashmore bringing the car home then for 5th Class C victory here at Oulton. A great race that we had. They're just in the nick of time, I think, because there's a thunderstorm not too far away from Oulton Park at the moment, but the Club Enduro race is just getting completed before falling victim to the weather. So let's have a look at the results then. It is the number 1 car of Scott Parkin that took the win at the end of 52 laps. He was 21 seconds clear of number 6, Ryan Parkin and Dylan Briggs. There was a Darkside Developments 1-2 there for the Audi TTs. Third was number 25, that was Darren Ball in the Cupra. Those with the only 3 finishers on the leading lap. In 4th place was the Treble 4 car, Claire Norman and Alan Blenko. 5th with the penalty, number 69, Matthew Hampson and Andy Schultz. 6th was number 22, Luke and Paul Browse, his father. 7th overall, number 8, winning Class B, that was number 1, Matthew Tidmarsh and Chris Webster. 8th to number 10, Rob Fennick and Andrew Shepherd in the BMW. 9th to number 78, Alan Stockford and James in the Audi. The top 10 was the number 55 car, which was Simerson and Stanton. 2nd in Class B, Wayne Lawson and James Pickford in number 19, 11th overall, and 3rd in Class B, number 76, Michael Downey. For Class C, it was in 13th position overall, number 195, Sam Dennis of Ashmore. From 2nd in Class C, 15th overall, Tom Ostedman and Michael Hooper, and 3rd in Class C, Paul Subiani and Tom Walker in the 66 car. But it was a Darkside Developments 1-2, a Darkside Developments car that wins the race and the Class A Championship as well, with Scott Parkin bringing it home to make sure he will finish the season with at least 58 points, subject to any penalties or anything that might be applied, which we haven't foreseen yet, but it will mean that he cannot now be caught by anybody else within Class A. We'll hear from him shortly. Hopefully we'll also hear as well from our Class B winners, Tidmarsh and Webster, and our Class C winners, Dennis and more as well. I can see Kieran doing his best to get everyone down there to have a word with them at the end of that race. But a great race for the Skiwa Club Enduro Championship. Another round to go still at Donington Park next month. And a reminder that there's still 5 more races to go here today at Oulton Park. Coming up next, we've got the 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup, then we've got the Nankang Tyres Sports 1000 Championship, Zamp Helmets Formula V, Caterham Racing Clear Sport Championship, and the High-Tech Alpha Mile as well. So still 5 more races to come for you this afternoon here at Oulton Park. So don't go away. Very shortly we'll head down to Parc Fermé. We've seen that Kieran has very busily got everyone into position there. We'll hear from him in just a moment, Johnny.
Yeah, quite a lot of track maintenance required though after such a long race. The marshals are quickly out onto the racing surface to make sure it's suitable for those 5 races that you were talking about, Ian, and that I think promised a bit more than eventually it delivered, just purely because the gaps increased in the second stage. The safety car certainly did spice things up towards the end, and Scott Parkin must have been thinking, what on earth do I have to do here to ensure that I could take a class victory? And also the other cars in good positions in Class B and Class C will have been thinking the same as well. That will have disrupted some of the closer fights if indeed Scott Parker was wedged in between them, because all of a sudden you've got certain cars within categories that can be waved into a huge lead. But that is just the nature of nullifying the field to make sure that it is safe for recovery of cars to take place. Order retained, of course, and then we had a short, sharp restart. But I think the most grateful that everyone will be is the fact that we've managed to escape the rain shower, which could be heading our way, but it's not interfered with the Tagiwa Enduro Cup. And we can head now to Kieran Mogg for some reaction from that race.
Well, it certainly always delivers, and these 3 have been dominant throughout of the year. We're going to speak to Scott Parkin. Scott, race win, championship win in your class. How was it out there?
Yeah, pretty good. I was just saying the BMW Kevin Clark looked like he were going to give us a bit of trouble. He pitted quite early. They put some fuel in, came out in front of me, so I thought, right, I'll get a measure of his pace, and I seemed to catch him really quick, and I said to the guys on the radio, something's not quite right there with him, and I passed him pretty easily, and then he came into the pit, so clearly he had an issue. Yeah, and then it was just a case of sort of keeping it on the track. I had a spin, I hope you got that on camera. I had a spin into the chicane. We put new tyres on the car in the pit stop, and that changed the balance quite a bit, so I had a lot more front end. So I went into there, back end just came round, I just thought I was let it spun round, luckily nobody around me, so yeah, I think that cost me about 10 seconds, but yeah, with the looks of it, it didn't seem to make much difference. But yeah, thank you so much to the team. You know, they were up while nearly 1 a.m. yesterday sorting some issues out on the car that they found, and we've had a 1-2, which is fantastic for the team, so that's a payback for their hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on the win and the championship as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, I know Ian's going to be quite laughing at this. Look what's here, it's the Ginetta, it's fantastic. I'm going to speak fantastic race with the win, as we spoke about beforehand. It made it.
Yes, indeed, yeah, no problems whatsoever. A few little bits of